Welcome to our virtual conversation with Donald Brett Waterhouse in the context of the presentation of the annual WiR Appreciation Award. I'm going to introduce our participants today. It's, of course, Donald Brett Waterhouse. He's a former Command Sergeant Major of the U.S. Army Garrison Rheinland-Pfalz from 2018 until 2020, actually December 17th of last year. And my colleague, Sarah Wagner, she's the education manager at the Atlantic Academy. And she also met Brett on various official occasions, like change of command ceremonies, and is joining today's discussion.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. All right, my name is John Constance. I'm the manager of the state program Welcome to Rheinland-Pfalz, Our Neighbors from the USA. It's a state program by the State Ministry of the Interior. The main goal is to bring together Germans and Americans in the villages close to U.S. military installations here in the state of Rheinland-Pfalz and to promote an active and open German-American neighborhood. So why are we together today? It's because Donald Brett Waterhouse is the first recipient of our WiR Appreciation Award, which is presented to a distinguished member of the U.S. military leadership here in Rheinland-Pfalz, who showed an extraordinary commitment to promote the German-American interaction while he's or she is here. WiR is the German acronym of the program Willkommen in Rheinland-Pfalz, or in English, it's Welcome to Rheinland-Pfalz, and this acronym also translates to we in English. On December 14th, we handed over the award, last year, of course, to Brett at the U.S. Army Garrison Rheinland-Pfalz headquarters. The award states, "Thank you for your exceptional dedication to transatlantic relations by actively participating in our local events, engaging with your host community, and experiencing German culture. With your open-minded mentality, you went above and beyond to build bridges between locals and Americans while promoting our common bond and friendship. You were a true enrichment to the German-American community during your stay in Rheinland-Pfalz, and we wish you and your family the best in all of your future endeavors. Auf Wiedersehen." So I'm going to show a picture, of course.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so you see what it looked like. All right. So here it is. All right, so this is the Appreciation Award. And of course, a nice bottle of Rheinland-Pfalz wine for Brett as well.
Excellent.
Yeah. So this was last year, yeah, the handover, as you can see. Due to COVID, we couldn't do it other than that, and couldn't have a ceremony like we wanted to. However, yeah, our colleagues from the Ministry of the Interior also recorded a video for you, Brett, and I wanted to play it.
Dear Mr. Waterhouse, dear Brett, congratulations. You are the first laureate of the new Welcome to Rheinland-Pfalz Award.
The intention of our program is to bring people together and foster an active, positive, and interactive German-American neighborhood. The basis for this is civic engagement. When we started our initiative, our focus was merely on raising this engagement on the German side, especially in the communities surrounding the installations. Your example shows how much more our German-American activities can profit from civic engagement on both sides.
During the last couple of years, you have been almost everywhere. You have joined a lot of our Welcome to Rheinland-Pfalz events. We had the honor to meet you in formal events like chants of command ceremonies, and we have seen you in your Bavarian outfit at the Oktoberfest in Berglangenbach and other socializing events.
Your commitment really has made a difference. Thank you very much. All the best for the future and hopefully
Auf Wiedersehen.
That's very nice.
That was awesome. That was great.
I didn't expect that. That's awesome.
So actually, let me just a second. Actually, Brett, we've come full circle now after your 2 years, because I just want to show real quick one picture how I met you.
Like
Okay.
the second day I was here, I think. Yeah. It was pretty soon.
Maybe you remember.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Here.
It was very heist that day.
Totally different than today. In January, it was very hot. No COVID at all. Back
And just still could stand close together. How nice.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it was a good
I
day.
think it was, I'm not sure in Celsius, but I think it was like 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It was pretty hot, but yeah, that was, I think, my first week on the job, something like that. And I met you. Yep. And of course, that's a well-deserved award. And yeah, I don't know, not long after that, you invited me to the first Stammtisch, and
Exactly. Everything kicked off. This is the key to the Garrison Award back in June 2018 for the people out there. Yeah, that was an award for the strong partnership we have going on with the U.S. Army Garrison Rheinland-Pfalz and our Welcome to Rheinland-Pfalz program. And as Brett just said, things kicked off there.
And as you said, coming full circle, and now Brett is getting the award.
Exactly. And now Brett is getting the award from us. Yeah, so usually we would have had a nice and appropriate ceremony to present Brett Waterhouse the award, with many of his companions and friends attending, as well as state and local civic leaders and military leadership. As you know, the coronavirus has made it impossible to do so. Despite these difficult circumstances, it is our heartfelt wish to illustrate the dedication of Brett Waterhouse for the local German-American friendship with this virtual conversation, so you can learn more about him and his mindset during his time in Germany. So yeah, we just gonna start with the first question, Brett. I mean, you were stationed here in Germany before. What did you expect from life in Germany when you arrived here in 2018? And how was it different from your previous assignment here in Germany?
well, I expected a little bit to be quite different as far as, well, two things. One, when I was here last time, I was very young, much younger. So I think I was 25. We went to Bayern. So we moved first to Erlangen, which is near Nuremberg. Our first daughter was born there, who is now 27. But it was, you know, every state in Deutschland is different, just like the United States. You know, Washington State is different than Florida. And so we were in Bavaria or Bayern, and much younger, but it was a different time. You know, the people that at my age now, they dress differently. Everything was more, let's say back then, at least where we were, it wasn't the global kind of world we live in now. I mean, that was early 1990s. The wall had just come down in Berlin, 3 years before I got here. So much of the wall was still up. Germany as a country was basically just trying to reform into one country from two countries. And so it was a little bit different. I do remember just, and now I am the old man, but, you know, people back then, you know, walking down the little villages in Bavaria and stuff, you know, a lot of people were just walking around. There wasn't cell phones, there wasn't all this social media stuff. It was more of a simple lifestyle, I think. And then coming back here in 2018, almost, what is that, 20 something years later, I mean, everybody is used to talking to people around the world, you know, through stuff like this. And so I knew it would be totally different. And there's a lot more blue jeans being worn now, for example. Back then it seemed like if you were my age that I am now, if you're in your 50s or older, everybody was dressed up even when they were off, not at work, walking around. People were more formal. Again, I was in Bavaria. I wasn't in Rheinland-Pfalz, but yeah, it was a little bit more formal. Now it just seems like it's more of, it's actually more like the United States in a way, at least for where we are, because we are, like in Kaiserslautern, for example, there's 50,000 Americans here. So it is different, obviously, but it is a lot like America at a default because so many Americans live here. But I think the biggest thing is it seems to be more open now, because there's people from everywhere now. It wasn't quite like, it didn't seem like that back then. But there's a lot of people that live here now from different countries that didn't necessarily live here before. So I think it's more metropolitan, kind of like it reminds me more of the United States than it did back then. But I think it's just more open. I think it's better now because there was still some, it was the country, it was just forming back, back then. And it was kind of like East Berlin was so different than West Berlin, even in '95, the last time I visited it. But now I think, like I said, I went to Berlin, or my wife and I went last year, and you wouldn't even know it's the same city. I mean, it's totally, it looks like a brand new city. I mean, some of the old stuff is there, but it was amazing what we saw back then and what we see now. It just seems so much better. And the people are happier.
Yeah, but how cool that you got to make that experience, that you have this comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was my second assignment in the Army was coming over here. So January 1993, I came over here. I think I was 25 or 26 years old. Then the second time I come over here, I'm 52 years or 51 when I think I got here. But
totally different life stages.
So this is my last assignment. I keep saying our, my family and I, but yeah, Germany's kind of where we grew up. I had an assignment before Germany in '93, but I wasn't there long, and we went right to Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I lived in the barracks. I came back. I got engaged to Christina. We lived together. We got married and she moved to Texas, where I was. We literally got woken up the morning after we drove from Florida to El Paso, which is on the other side of Texas. We got a phone call the morning after we got there saying, "You got orders to Germany." And this would have been April, and we left in December to come over here. And so my wife's, again, our first daughter was born over here in Germany. I became a leader over here for the first time. I made sergeant when I was in Germany, and then I left as a staff sergeant, So, and this is really where I was trained how to be a tank gunner and all that, and just to be a leader in the Army. This is where I kind of grew up. And so, and then we had our first child. And so this is where we learned how to be parents, and we had help. We had German friends, obviously, in the area that helped us, because, our first daughter was born in Fürth, in a German hospital, which is actually still there.
Cool.
We took her there. I think it was last year. We took her there to see where she was born. And it's still there. And now to come here for our last assignment, it's almost like bookends. It really is for Christina, because that was, we were in Texas 6 months or so, and then we were here. And so it's almost like, we couldn't think of a better place to end our career in the military than here. And
that's awesome. Of course,
travel was one of the reasons I joined back then. We were excited coming here because, again, we were in Bavaria last time, and now we're going to be on the west side, as we call it. So we didn't go to France or anything back then. We kind of stayed in Germany. We went to Czechoslovakia, which actually now it's two different countries, but back then we went to Czechoslovakia a lot. But we pretty much toured all over Germany, and this time we could focus on a totally different side of Germany, and of course go to France, pretty quickly, and Italy. We went there at least once while we were here. It's it's different, right? This is an area of the country that was France many times. So there's kind of a mix. There's a good mix of cultures here.
Mhm.
It's a really nice area, and it's different. It's different than Bavaria. I like both, but it is good to see two different states and kind of, and learn a little bit, different, establish relationships with folks here. And because we still have relationships with people that are living over in Bavaria still. And
Nice.
so that's something we've always enjoyed, is traveling and meeting new folks and meeting new friends. And now we can keep in touch and actually see each other, even if we're not
Yeah.
in the same room. Back then it was just like you call, you write letters, hey, I'm calling collect. Who's this? You want me to pay you? But we knew it was gonna be different, but in a good way.
That's awesome. So you already mentioned the birth of your daughter, and I know it's going to be hard to compete with, but what would you say was sort of maybe one or two of your most memorable experiences here? You've experienced different states, you've done a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
So what was maybe a moment or two where you say, oh yeah, that was Germany for me?
Well, one of them, it's funny, actually. It's funny. It was funny at the time. I think it's still funny now. But the first July 4th celebration we had in Baumholder on Smith Barracks, so on the Army base there, I think I had met Mayor Alswasser before that, but that day I had the honor of tapping the keg with him.
Can't get more German than that.
Yes, and so, but it was, and I think, this was actually before Colonel Edwards got here. So Colonel Aguiarto, he was on his way out, but so it was kind of my first taste of really that awesome relationship between the Baumholder military community and the local community. And so I think I'd met him previously before that, but this was the first time I really got to know him, and then the city mayor and some of the other folks and the military folks there, the Bundeswehr folks from that surrounding area. And, I went there, I didn't know I was going to do that, but so they gave me like a Kerner beer coat or something to put on. Apron, that's the word. Yeah. So I put this apron on. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get wet, whatever. So I'll put this thing on, I'll play the game, whatever. So then I go up, and him and I have the little tap thing, and the person that was there from the beer company said, hey, it was a pretty good sized keg. And it was a large one, actually, and he was like, don't hit it too hard. I'm like, okay. So the mayor was holding it, and then I had the hammer. And he said, again, not the mayor, the Kerner beer guy said, don't hit it too hard. I don't want it to mess it up. You don't have to hit it too hard. So, okay, I went up there and I said, ready? I tapped it. Tried it, nothing. No beer came. I said, okay, a little harder. Bam, nothing. And then I asked him, I was like, hey, Mayor, I'm gonna hit it like
I'm gonna go for it.
I'm just gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it hard. But what we didn't know was that the top of it was not on correctly. Neither of us knew this.
Oh no.
So I'm like, hey, look, I won't hit your hand. I've got good aim. I'm gonna hit this like a real man now, right? So I hit it, and then when I hit it, the top of the beer thing, it basically exploded, and beer went all over like a volcano. And it went all over me, all over the mayor, all over the guy playing music.
That is excellent.
Fortunately, nobody caught it on camera, but it was a beer explosion. And
at least you tapped the keg, and it was successful.
Third time was a charm, and probably a liter of beer went.
That's awesome.
But it was funny. We all laughed. I'd say other than that, I mean, just I can't think of one particular moment. Just lots of little moments like that.
That's good.
I mean, there's one I can't say what the conversations was about, but even going different places with some of the local military and the Bundeswehr and local city and village officials and stuff, to even like Wiesbaden, and just getting to know the culture and again, it's different than Bavaria. We learned the Bavarian culture and a lot of those things, which surprisingly some of that's here now. Like wearing dirndls and stuff. That wasn't, I don't think that happened back in the old days here, but just learning the traditions and the history of this area, but doing that through relationships and meeting people, whether it's people I work with in the garrison or people I just meet on the street.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's a perfect answer.
Yeah. And another aspect of your personality, Brett, and which I admire, and it's really great, is your passion for the German language. And I just wanted to ask, what's the status at the moment? And I want to know from you what your favorite German word is.
I have several. My Deutsch is nicht so gut right now because since March, I really haven't had the opportunity to go out and talk to people. But yeah, I mean, German is something I wanted to learn, obviously, because I'm here. And we did that when we lived here the last time. Is just the way we were brought up is, hey, be respectful. You know, you're visitors, you're being welcome to this community. Just like in the States, we have students from all over the world come to universities and stuff like that. I grew up in a university town, so I'm used to people from different countries and different places coming and different cultures and growing up, you know, with those folks or their parents or whatever, right? So, I just, for me, it just makes sense to, how do you establish a relationship if you don't at least try to speak a little bit of the language? And it's not that hard, you know, hello, goodbye, good to see you again. All these basic things, every little bit helps, right? Just what we would expect in the United States as an American. Some people are a little more outspoken about just speak English or whatever, right? But hey, that's how you get along. Every life is about relationships, and it makes it a lot easier if you try a little bit to establish rapport and just be nice, right? And just try. It's not that hard. My favorite word, I know which one you're thinking, but that's not it. It's not Schmetterling. That is a good one. That is a good one. That is a good one. I like the word, even though it's easy. I like Emma. You know, somebody and then vielleicht. I like both of those, right? Manchmal, maybe. Manchmal, sometimes that sounds kind of funny to an American, almost like munching something. But people, I use it as, you know, would you like, you know, noch ein Bier? Would you like another beer or something? Emma, or you know, wait a minute, what time is it?
Comes in handy. Yep.
Yeah. And then if I say vielleicht, or, you know, it's possible, or maybe, or perhaps, I really mean yes. It's just a way to say yes without coming right out.
Yeah.
But somebody says, hey, you want more Flammkuchen? Yeah, Emma, yeah.
Well, perfect segue. So what are some of your, speaking of Flammkuchen, some of your favorite foods and drinks that you'll miss from Germany?
Flammkuchen's good. I don't know, I call that French. That's kind of a French.
I was going to say, we can't totally claim that. So
no, that's also taught flambe. That's kind of again, that's one of those things, right? It's kind of in both countries. No, I think Jaeger Schnitzel is still my favorite, even though it's kind of boring for most people.
It's a classic. It's a classic for a reason. So that's fine. That's.
Ich mag es. I mean, I like it.
There's a reason why it's so popular.
Ich liebe es, actually.
Manchmal.
Emma.
Yeah, that's still my favorite. Something I had over here, and it's actually Italian, but I didn't see it down in Italy. We don't have it in the States so much, but spaghetti bolognese.
Oh, okay.
Really popular around here.
That's a true classic, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Throw in there a German sausage and you make it German.
Yeah, those the German restaurants I go to, German Italian restaurants I go to. It's good. But no, I think Jaeger Schnitzel is still my favorite. Spätzle is good.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Of course, any kind of dessert. Trying to think of a specific one. Well, any kind of cake. Torte.
Yes, that's.
Drinks. I don't know. Does Spätzle count? I mean, I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Plus, it's pretty unique too. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was something we were introduced to last time we were here, and I ordered it somewhere here, and like, we don't call it that. I'm like, okay. But then most people do know what I mean when I say sweet.
So can you explain what Spezi is to the people who watch?
Yeah, it's basically like a soda, like a Coke or like a cola flavored drink mixed with an orange drink. And then depending on how you want to do it, sometimes it's half and half, but I mean, you can make it yourself. There's brand names like Mezzomix that kind of simulate, or kind of, I don't even know who makes that. I'm not sure which company makes that. It might be Coca-Cola for all I know. But Mezzomix is similar. But yeah, you just make it yourself. And some people actually mix Coke with Sprite. There's all kind of different versions, but I like the classic cola with orange. And it's just different. It tastes different, and especially if you are going somewhere and you're at work and you can't partake in wine that's offered or something like that, I go with Spezi.
Very good choice. Yes.
Are you a fan of German beer?
Oh yeah, yeah. Hefeweizen is my favorite, which I know is not local to here, but I do like some Hefeweizen. Trying to think of what else. I mean, around here too, you can get Belgian beer, of course, which is a little bit stronger, but I'd say Hefeweizen is still my favorite. But a good, just a Weiss beer, really, of any kind. Radler's good too. That's kind of a mix as well. I don't know, you might be able to explain that one better, but for me, it just tastes like a lemon flavored kind of beer, lemon and beer mix, the Radler. But I really like the wines around here. I would say more than the beer.
Yes, it's a good region for wine here.
Yeah, I mean, we're in wine country.
Yes, absolutely.
The Rhine Valley, it's in our name, right? It's in the Rheinland-Pfalz. We're in the
Yes.
Rhineland, so the wine is pretty awesome.
Now, which wine is your favorite?
In this region, I would say either Riesling in here, and then also Gewürztraminer. No, is that the right word? No, Gewürztraminer. I don't know if you've tried that. Yeah. Gewürztraminer. It's a type of grape. It's actually goes between the border here in France, the Alsace. But yeah, that's a particular grape I like. But yeah, I like any wine. Champagne is the one thing I'm not a fan of, but that's
a different region. Yeah.
So it was a good choice to give you the Riesling as a present, right?
Yes, you did. Yeah, and I have it here, and we will celebrate before we leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of Hefeweizen and so on, that was actually a drink we both had when we met at the German-American Stammtisch in Ramstein or in Mehling. So the different Stammtisch meetings where locals and Americans come together to get to know each other. And you were there frequently, and you're a Stammtisch member, so to speak. What made these Stammtisch meetings so special for you, and why did you continue attending on a regular basis?
I think, for one, like I said, I like meeting new people and learning. I always like learning. That's something I've always, which is making my next career move being hard and trying to figure out what I want to do next, because I always like learning. So the Army and the military always gives you something new to do, like this job I just had as a Garrison Sergeant Major. There's no real training. There's no career field for that. So you kind of have to learn it. But we have all these experts in these different areas, just like a city manager or whatever, right? So, but I'm used to learning. Yeah, there's some stress involved, but I like learning new things, and language, culture, food. I mean, who doesn't like food? I mean, so, but I really enjoy that. And that's a way to, just like in the States, if you join a club, or, I mean, there's different things in the States. They have different organizations where it's all about socializing, really, and doing something in common. And again, we hadn't been here 20, I'm not good at math, but over 25 years, I think. So trying to relearn Deutsch, relearn the language. And it's a little different here than it was in Bavaria. It's actually easier, I think, for Americans to speak here because you can say ish instead of ich, you know, so it's a little bit easier. And I just think it's, yeah, and not only just meet local German folks, but other Americans that work here, live here, maybe retired here. And in the case of the Ramstein-Miesenbach Stammtisch, I think I was one of 2 Army people there.
Yeah.
It was mostly Air Force. So, you know, you got to represent the Army in the community. You know, so, and of course that allows me, not intentionally, but, you know, some of the local city officials would come by and you get to meet them and establish relationships and trust and, you know, that stuff with people that do the same kind of work I do, you know, and so, or if they have a question about something and then maybe I can answer it, or maybe I can, I don't know what the word educate, but let people know this is kind of what's going on, or this is why this is, you know, why this is this way and this is that way, or why we can do this or you can't do that as the Army or the Air Force or whatever. So yeah, for me, it's just an excuse to go out, you know, learn the culture, meet new people, get some good food, some drinks, and just have a good time. It's relaxing. You get away from the everyday job, you know, and yeah, it actually makes it easier when you meet people and like, oh, well, I've had that experience. Or like me, I was asking about the German school systems, for example. And then I may get a question from somebody about, well, I want my you know, I want my kids to go to German school, not a military school, or not the Army or Air Force's Department of Defense stuff. You know, well, I kind of know how that works now. And I would have known that if it wasn't for the Stammtisch. So, you know, because we had a couple teachers in there in that one particular one.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I don't know what the second part of your question was, but
no, I think that covered it.
One question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you. What a good ringing endorsement for this Stammtisch. So to everyone who's watching, again, once it's permissible and safe again, and these monthly meetings can pick up again, everyone obviously is very much invited, Germans and Americans, yeah, to have this chance, as Brett has just so very nicely described, to hang out, interact, socialize, get to know each other, and learn more about each other's cultures.
Yeah, just check the Facebook page of the Welcome to Rheinland-Pfalz program. When it's safe again, as Sarah said,
yeah,
we're going to resume the Stammtisch meetings. Unfortunately, Brett, your last year, you didn't have, you know, we didn't have any Stammtisch meetings.
Yeah, I think our last one was January or February was the last one.
Yeah, February was the last one.
Yeah. So now maybe for the last few questions, maybe we can also look ahead a little bit, and also, or as you already started with sort of describing the Stammtisch atmosphere, sort of some, yeah, advice and some things that you would recommend to American families, maybe starting off with what was your favorite spot, your favorite destination here in Germany, something where you say like, ooh, this was worth traveling to.
No, there's a lot. I mean, for people coming here, Americans coming to this particular area, even in Kaiserslautern itself, there's lots of things to do. Go on one of the local tours there and go down there, see the fountain, you know, go to the Fruchthalle, just, I mean, the market square, all these different places, the churches downtown, the Weihnachtsfest, whenever we can do those again. You know, there's some famous cities around here, not just Kaiserslautern, but you got the Baumholder military community up north, 35 minutes or so, depending how fast you drive. But there's so much here.
Well, what was your favorite trip? Like just personally?
I don't know if I have a favorite, to be honest with you, because it's hard to pick a favorite. But we did a lot of day trips around here. Even going down, it's actually not in Rheinland-Pfalz, but even like Saarbrücken.
It's okay. It's allowed today for once.
Saarbrücken, Trier is nice. Trier, one of the oldest city, I think the oldest city in Germany.
Yeah.
Right up the road. Heidelberg.
I
mean, who doesn't like Heidelberg? You know, what is that? Maybe an hour and a half. Again, if you drive like me, you probably get there quicker. Yeah. But
As a wine drinker, you went to the wine growing regions, right?
Yes, I mean, you got the
Waterfalls.
Rhine River, you got Mainz. Yeah, I mean, and then not only that, you can drive, what, maybe 30 minutes, you're in France and come back. And again, some of those border areas are really cool because you have a mix of cultures.
Absolutely.
I mean, right now, if I drive toward Landstuhl, I can pick up French speaking radio.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of cool. And I've met people who, I've been to some things around here. Actually some events, I think the last one was in Baumholder, where I met these sister city people. I think it was the Baumholder sister city Bark in France. That mayor and stuff came down for one of the, it might've been one of the Oktoberfest. I can't remember, but little things like that. Again, it's kind of cool being in a area where you're so close to other countries as well, where not only do you get to meet folks that live here, but they may have relatives that live across the border. I met a German Luftwaffe retired Sergeant Major or Oberstabsfeldwebel. I met him. He lives down in Biche, France, which is right down the road. But he retired there, and I met him one day, and he welcomed me and my family to go down and stay with him. I mean, that's pretty awesome. You know, I met him at a ceremony, and we got to talking, and you know, had lunch. Got to talking about what he did and where he was from and his career. And then he goes, "Yeah, I retired, and I'm down, you know, just south of Parmesans and across the border." I didn't realize France was that close, but yeah, he lives right down there. He goes, "You know, that's what I love about this area. It kind of reminds me of living in parts of the United States where people are they're friendly and they trust you. And I mean, unless somebody gives you a reason not to, people are open and, you know, willing to be, you know, friends with you."
That's awesome.
Or at least, you know, what's the word? Not compatriots, but companions or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really something I'm going to take away from this area, Rheinland-Pfalz area is, yeah, it's just people, we always try to say, you know, in the Garrison, my last job, just always be nice. It's hard, you know, when you're in a customer business and some customers not being very nice or whatever, but that seems to be this area. And of course, your organizations help with this, is welcoming us as, you know, not foreigners, so to speak, but members of the community. And I really see that either from government officials or just people you meet at dinner. This place is really welcoming to Americans, and that's cool.
So is this what you will miss most from Germany when you get back now? As you said, Is your last assignment, you're heading back to the States?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it seems like a year, but yeah, I mean, we haven't even, I've gotten to see some of the people that we used to get together with in our Stammtisch actually, you know, several of them. But like the Maligan, when we were really just getting going, and then that kind of COVID hit, and then we kind of had to put that on pause. But that was an area that I didn't really know anything about. We started learning about that area. I met the mayor and some of the military folks that work in Simbach, which is right there. You know, they're learning about Maligan, and hey, the best Flammkuchen in Germany is right down here, you know, which I never got an opportunity to go to that restaurant, you know, for example. But you know, and then you got the perfume factory or parfum factory or museum. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's just little things like that. If you get out and get in the community, you will learn things. And I think that's what I would say to Americans is, you know, reach out to you guys, and there's a website. You can pretty much ask you guys anything. You don't have to actually go to the Stammtisch, you know, but if you do, it makes getting settled here a heck of a lot easier. And they can ask you guys any question, you know, and if they're not comfortable maybe with you answering it, somebody, you know,
we will find someone.
Yeah, find someone.
Yeah, no, but that's great advice, Brett. Like sort of this reaching out, getting informed about the events. Sort of any other advice for American families to come over here to Rheinland-Pfalz?
Take advantage of being here, because I mean, this last year proves it, right? I mean, there's people that may watch this that got here, they haven't really had the opportunity to go anywhere yet. You're in Europe, but you're in Germany and you're in this area, Rheinland-Pfalz, but maybe you've got to go a couple places, but with COVID, and that'll change with the vaccine coming out. But hopefully by the summer, you will actually everybody will get to go and experience all the stuff there is to do around here and the great cities and villages and people. Because right now it's a little difficult because everybody's kind of locked into your town, village area. But I would say take advantage of, like us. I mean, we came over here in 1993, we left in 95, and then we didn't get back over here till 2018. And I would, most jobs you're not going to, hey, we're going to send you to Germany next week to go do this. And by the way, you'll have some free time to, go down to the, the Rhine River and do a cruise. No, but here, you work, and then weekends, most people will have time to go do these things. And unfortunately, COVID has kind of put a hamper on that, but that'll go away. I think hopefully by this summer, I would say take advantage of it. Drive the 30 minutes to France, drive the hour to hour and a half to Heidelberg, go up to Baumholder and East Oberstein and some of these other places. Go down to Cape Town right here. I mean, Cape Town's pretty big. Go check out the dinosaurs and
you can stop by at our office, grab a cup of coffee with John.
Go by your office, which is pretty easy to find the tallest building in town and look across the street.
Exactly.
And get to know the people, right?
That's right. You get to know the people. And I used to tell people before COVID hit, when we do in-processing briefings, they come in and they're jet lagged and they're doing all their, they're trying to figure out everything. And there's people in there that have been in the Army, 20 years. There's people in there, it's their first assignment. And I would tell them all the same thing. Hey, don't squander your 2 years, 3 years here by staying inside the gates of Kleber Kaserne or wherever you are, or Vogelweg housing where I am now. There's a whole big world out there. You're not in a hostile environment. Go out and learn the culture, learn the language. And again, it doesn't have to be formal, just like our, the Stammtisch. Go out, and I used to try to learn a word or two every time.
Yes, you did. At every meeting,
I'd make a fool of myself half the time, but that's how you learn, right? You try it one word at a time, one phrase at a time. And there's people, even last time I was here, where there was no issues going on. They never left the installation. I hated my time over here. Well, where did you do? I didn't do much. There wasn't anything to do. No, that was your decision.
Yeah.
You're in Europe, man.
Time will pass anyways. You might as well use it. Yeah.
Go out and see something. Go out and do something. I mean, even if it's, like I said, a small village, that's really and what I was getting at is, I would tell people, nothing against Kaiserslautern, but Kaiserslautern is a big city with 50,000 Americans, right? Go to some of the smaller villages around, or some of the restaurants that aren't necessarily tailored to Americans. Go in those restaurants in some of those places to where maybe you're the only American in there. And that's how you get to learn what's really going on, what the real culture is. And that's what we've always tried to do. It may be uncomfortable with some people, but hey, the best way to learn something is go head first, right? Go in there where maybe nobody speaks English, and we do that when we go to France, and we'll figure it out. That's how we learned German the first time we got here. We went out in Nuremberg, and we lived there for 30 days. We were there by ourselves. It was kind of in processing. It was different back then, but you basically did 3 weeks, and then you went to your unit, wherever that was. But we lived downtown Nuremberg, and every night we went out and figured out how to order food. And and we had a little phrase book that was Hochdeutsch, which didn't really help much. But like we asked for the Rechnung, like, die Rechnung bitte. And they're like, what? You mean, oh, you want to pay? Okay, just say this, Zahlen bitte. Okay. The book says, no, you just asked me for an invoice. I'm not shipping you any products or anything. So that's how we learn, right? You learn by trial and error. So yeah, we're gonna miss it. Definitely gonna miss it. But again, like I said, it's a great last assignment, and you guys obviously help, and ladies, guys and gals.
Well, that's wonderful. That's great. First of all, thank you so much for this wonderful advice. And again, and also thank you so much for being so actively involved in all our events and really making this great effort to strengthen transatlantic relations at a local level, because we do know that on a global level, things can sometimes be tricky and relationships are strained or challenged. And I think that's why it's even more important that we do what we can in our corner of the world and with the influence that we have to make sure that people do get along and understand each other, even though they come from different countries and cultures and backgrounds. So again, much appreciated, Brett. Thank you so much for your hard work here at all the Stammtische and all the other events. And we wish you all the best for going back to the United States, to you and your family. And we'll definitely hope we get to stay in touch so you also don't have to miss Rheinland-Pfalz that much.
Thank you very much. Vielen Dank.
Thank you so much, Brett.
Thank you.
Take care.
Ciao.